Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I'd like to start the meeting with the minutes. We have the August 15th, 2018 minutes.
Everybody has a supplement that goes in the minutes that Gail's not provided us with.
Go ahead. I'll make the motion to accept the minutes.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Dave. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have September 5th, 2018 minutes.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dave. Second by Phil. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Also had a question, Gail, the last meeting in July's minutes?
July 11th.
Yep. Did we pass? Okay,
They're on the website.
good, okay. Okay, next is a public hearing. We had a local law introductory age for police commission, increased membership, 2 people. We spoke about it the last few minutes, our meetings, and we tabled it.
Are we still going from the original proposal?
Well, what we went out to the paper for was just adding 2 members. That was what was in the clerk.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's what's on the table, if we want to add 2 members or we don't.
Well, you'll recall we spoke before this meeting, and we agreed that we would leave it at 5 and add a board member that would rotate. And also change where it says commissioner to advisory committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, there's 16 places where it refers to the commission, when in fact it's not. I think we should, if we're gonna change it, we need to change that also. And then any reference to 150.
They require another public hearing.
Yeah, what if we're making those changes? It should, I should put that all in there if that's what you guys want me to do, and then give it to Gail and.
Why don't, so right now, I guess it's on the table for the extra 2 members of the police commission, for what we went for the first public hearing, right? So,
5 to 7.
do you guys want to discuss that first and then end it, or?
There was no opposition to it, I had no problem with it.
Okay, anybody?
Well, I think 5 is the proper way to do it. And again, we talked about that.
Yeah, personally, I like the 5 with the 1 board member. I think that was a nice rotating one every
5
year.
plus a board member.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute, now you're gonna go 6?
He's a non-voting member, he's just that he's a liaison.
Because you can't have an even.
Right, he's a liaison, like any other committee.
This way it keeps the flow of who nominates a person, otherwise then you gotta get in the whole philosophy of who does 6 and 7 and all that, right? Like appointing a person, unless it's a whole board has appoint unanimously that 6 or 7 person. If we go to 7.
It's going to be a board appointment, 6 and 7 people, right? It's not going to be a specific person who's going to be appointed.
No, it's a board appointment, where it's like planning board, so I mean, I don't know.
Well, we spent an inordinate amount of time on this, and it's quite simple as far as I can see. It's not a commission, it's a committee, if you will, and 5 works very well, and I think there should be a board member as an advisor on it, and everything else remains the same. And it will require, because those are significant changes, no matter what you change on this, it's gonna take a public hearing. So I'll make a motion that we go with the 5 as discussed with the additional changes.
Well,
Commission,
I don't think we need a motion, we just have to,
well,
X out the other
what do
one.
we gotta do?
Well, we'd have to go out to public hearing again.
Right, because what the public hearing was on was a local law
Yes,
to amend, increase the membership from 5 to 7. So if we're either not acting on that, then we're gonna keep it at 5, and the question's gonna be whether you wanna make any modifications, such as adding a town board member as liaison and changing it to a reference of a committee rather than a commission.
Right. Any motion to go out to public hearing?
I don't think we need a motion either for that. It's just pretty much, this one here
Well, what
is
do we
good
do?
or is it dead?
Well, you do a motion to schedule a public hearing and have me prepare another local law
Right.
delineating the terms that Dave has set forth.
Or we leave it the way it is and that's it.
You got that?
I mean, you could, because right now, the way the wordage is in there anyway is that any person's appointment goes, the board member can stay in for a period of time. I mean, you might say no, but really, if you
No,
read
no,
it, the
that's what it
person could
says.
stay up there almost to a year, really, is
That's
the
what it
normal.
says, that's not the intent, but you're right.
Right.
That's what it says.
So-
And I don't have a problem with that. We need to change this, however, to advisory committee, that is a change.
If that's what everybody wants to do. I guess that's the key. You want to make it,
Well, if we keep it at 5, you can do it doesn't matter. There's only to change the,
there's only to add members to it anyway, so. And then if a board member wants to stay on it, let them stay on it for a while until they find somebody they like for their choosing.
so we leave it alone, then.
Well, I mean, what, you know, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, you have 3 options. Leave it, change it, or abolish it. That's really the 3 things if you're
Correct.
looking, you know.
Yeah, and when we initially adopted it, we were very clear, the commission shall review and make recommendations upon all matters that may be referred to it by the New Hartford Town Board.
Right.
It may conduct hearings when deemed necessary or when directed by the town board. It is not the intent that this commission usurp the powers of the town board
Exactly.
with regard to issues that have customarily been handled by the town board. So the whole, even though we called it a commission, it really wasn't a 150 commission.
That's correct. So let's change that, and that's gonna require a public hearing too.
It would. Just tell me what you guys want me to do.
Well, I say, if we put 2 or we don't, or just leave it alone. I mean, there's no sense in going to put it in the paper again to change a name in it. It's the same as it always has been, so I don't see any difference between names changing.
Well,
I
it's
mean, why
still,
waste the time?
it will require a public hearing to change
If you're gonna change
the name.
the name where it says police commission to police committee or something like that, it would require a public hearing, but I thought when we initially did this, the whole intent was, even though we called it a 150 police commission, it didn't have, that's why we did it by a local law, because we specifically limited the powers such that it isn't a 150 police commission, but rather it's an advisory tool for this
For this
board
board.
to send things to and give responses, but not take, they can't really take affirmative action. They don't
Right,
have
on
any
their own.
budgetary, they can't hire anybody.
Right.
Everything is vested in the town board, and I thought that's why we did it the way we did. But whatever you guys, it's up to you guys to tell me what you want me to do.
Again, it's clearly an advisory committee.
Yep.
If the page says chapter 24, police commission, that's incorrect.
Well, it's done under section 150 of the town law, which authorizes the creation of a police commission.
Right.
By local law, you can change 150, even though you're operating under 150 police commission. You can have 5 members, you can have 7 members, you can delegate duties, or you can take away duties. So even though the entity itself is legally established under 150 of the town law, by that local law under municipal home rule law, you took away a lot of the 150 powers.
Right.
But we still called it a commission.
Right, and going forward, it's only going to add to the confusion if you continually call it a commission.
Okay, so,
That's my feelings.
Well, I guess I don't understand the confusion that anyone's having, because we're still the board, we take care of the police budget, we're still the ones that hire, we're still the ones that let people go, and so to go out to another public hearing to change a word, I just kind of don't see any.
Well,
I think
certainly a
that-
public hearing is not a big deal either. I mean, we're gonna be here, it's scheduled on a night that we're here.
oh, then
Wow,
publish
this
it.
is notice crazy.
No, just like I said, it's, the thing says for 7, if we don't wanna do it, we move on, and that's it, let it be for what it is.
Well, I think it should be changed to advisory committee. That's my feelings.
I think we leave it alone. It's already-
Yeah, me too, I don't see any, I mean, just to add 2 people, if we're not gonna add your 2 people, it is what it is, it's been that way for 6 years. I mean, Dave, you voted on it the way it was before, so did Rich, so did I, back 6 years ago. So
Absolutely.
nothing's changed since 6 years ago.
Well, what changed was you brought it up. You
Well, I brought it up to
wanted-
add 2 people to
Right.
it, like our planning or zoning board to have 7 people.
It's not a commission, so I spoke my piece in there.
Again, it's just the 2 people, adding 2 people has nothing to do with what you call it. I guess. I mean, if there's something you know that I don't know, tell me.
No, I think again,
I only-
I'm for you, I don't interrupt you, but I think that there's a perception when you call it like we have a Parks Commission. I mean, it probably should be Parks Advisory Committee. I mean, I don't know if there really should be commissions. And when you put the word police in front of and commission together, I think that's where it gets the confusion. I think that's where even the residents think, I don't know, that
I agree.
that apply, they think there's a perception that they have this power that they truly don't. And I think that's where you're going with this, is by changing it to a, whatever you want to call it.
Changing it to what it is, it's an advisory board, and we would refer items to them, and they would advise us on their findings or their feelings.
I mean, the majority of the board wants it commissioned. I mean, I'm fine keeping it the way it is personally, in terms of the number of people.
That's it.
But as far as the verbiage, I'm open on that too. That doesn't, I see there's some confusion, but if you want to go through a local law hearing, and that's a consensus.
Well, mine is just to get, I mean, again, it's on the public, we had the public here, it was just to add 2 more members to it. If we're not gonna add 2 more members, then we'll just take it off the sheet and be done with it. And if we wanna start something fresh, we'll start something fresh, but this is from the old adding 2 people. If you guys aren't in favor of adding 2 people, or if you are, let's, I said last meeting, let's finish it this meeting and be done with it, that's all, so there's no misconceptions out there, or no, everybody's on the same page, that's all, so.
So I'm not in favor of adding two.
Neither way.
Leave it alone.
Okay, so we leave it, we're done, and it's off the sheet.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
yeah, I think you should vote to deny the local law, if that's what you want to do.
Okay. Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Jim, discussion? All in favor? Aye, okay. All right, next, the 2019 preliminary budget. Open public meeting?
Make a motion. Open.
Motion by Jim,
Second?
second by Dave, discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Wait. How are you handling your bills?
With a letter,
Yeah.
I did get a letter.
I think we got
All right, did we talk to that when we talk about the budget then? Okay.
Well, the question is, if you change the tentative budget to the preliminary budget, or is it still the same
Well,
as?
so I'll just go over this now. So I had a meeting with her, with New York Mills, and he says at that point, he has a letter here, and he signed it, saying that at that point, he has 4 full-time officers, and he's hired the 4th guy. I think he actually copied all you guys and sent you also a letter
Yep.
for that. So again, it's signed by him that currently, right now, he has 4 full-time officers, and it says here that he will have, let's go over
And he
that.
has 7 part-time officers too. Also.
We're okay with it?
Yeah.
everything? As long as he's got the 4 police and.
He's gone out and said he now has 4 full-time police officers.
Okay.
But wasn't it stated as the police chief wasn't considered one of the?
He's, I guess, now hired him back. He's currently employs the police chief as a full-time police officer.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, as a full-time police chief.
No, as a full-time, he says as a full-time,
Says
well,
police
full-time
officer.
police chief.
Police chief.
Yeah.
I thought police chief, it was not one of the four. It was stated last 2 weeks ago.
With the civil service,
I think the problem was he was part-time, I thought. I don't know.
It says that he's in compliance with Town Law 150, which requires the village to maintain 4 full-time officers. In the meantime, they hope to fill a 5th full-time position in the next 2 weeks.
so you're feeling real clean.
Can I defer to you, Chief, on that, Chief? Because I think you mentioned it last time. I just want to be clear.
Again, I don't want to dispute what the mayor's saying, but, Chief Lannon also worked for the Whitesboro Central School District. And when he retired, I believe he retired under the Whitesboro Central School District title. But when you retire from a state organization, you are mandated to retire from any state positions you have. In this case, he would have been mandated to retire from his full-time police chief job. So for him to have his title that he's a full-time police officer again is I don't have direct knowledge that he isn't, but it doesn't make sense according to the civil service law that I know of. When you retire from your full-time job, and I've had many part-time officers that have had other jobs, say corrections. I've had a couple of full-time corrections officers retired, mandated to retire from the police retirement. DPW Superintendent Sherman, same situation. When he retired from the state, mandated to retire from the police department job. So I can't see how Chief Lannon would have been able to get a full-time status back in there from us.
So,
Rick, you have experience in it?
Also, your funds,
You can only make so much
you
money.
only can make $30,000 a year. And that, to be a full-time chief for $30,000 a year doesn't make sense. But
So according to the law that Councilor read like at least a dozen times 2 weeks ago, is the fact that
4 full-time police officers.
4 full, at the time, and it by law, and he's not operating under 4 full-time at the moment. So that helps. That's how I interpret it. I don't interpret it.
I have no problem putting it in the budget whatsoever. I wanna do what's
Otherwise-
right. So whatever's right, again, the mayor wrote this letter, I don't know about full-time, full on, I mean, it's kinda hard to figure out the chief situation, now that the chief said this.
Chief, would that go through civil service?
Yeah, and according to the law, it has to be a
Right.
full-time civil service position.
And that's what I
So-
thought he told us, that
That's what he did, he
He
told us
said-
that he had 4 full-time people, civil service, that they were all set, and he wrote the letter and signed it, and that was what we spoke about.
Barb, do we have a way to, I know you talk to them regularly down there, to verify that?
Yes, we can call down and verify it with him. But if you read the second part of his letter, he also said that he's in the process of
Of
putting
hiring
a
a
5th,
a 5th.
Yeah.
which they're probably waiting for the letter or the list to be certified with
They still have
agility
compliance,
exams
so.
being held, something along that, or whatever. So that could happen in the next 2 weeks, it could happen in a month, it could happen in 2 months. Who knows? But we can call down there and find
Civil
out.
service, yes.
It's a public record.
He said in the coming weeks.
Once a list is certified, it's only within weeks that you can have a person appointed from it.
Do you know when that would be certified?
No, I don't know why it's not certified. If it's agilities, then, I don't know if they do agilities indoor. Mike, do you know? Do they do agilities indoor now?
Not to my knowledge, but.
I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I used to always do them when they were outdoors. If they've changed it to do indoors, then they could be doing those. Otherwise, they have to wait until they have a track available. If it's for some other reason, I have no idea. I'm not involved with that portion of it anymore, but we could call down there and ask.
Well, my concern has always been the police protection from our neighborhoods and things too. You gotta do the right thing.
Guys, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, here's the thing, I don't wanna tax the residents in New York Mills though, if he's gonna have 4 full-time officers, or he does now. Again, I guess he wrote the letter. You know, we gotta just say if the letter's legitimate enough to be right. I guess that's it. So, there really was no meeting. He gave us the letter and it was kinda done. So, I mean.
Well, you might decide to act based on that letter, subject to Barb verifying the accuracy through civil service, and then,
If we find it is not, how are we gonna handle it? Can we put it in the budget? Or-
It's an easy fix in the budget, it's just a matter of including the Village of New York Mills assessed values.
Okay. So we really couldn't take action, we'd have to wait and see how it's gonna work out first, right, before we can adopt?
It's only gonna affect the tax rate,
Okay.
it's not gonna change anything else, but it's gonna dilute the tax rate by the assessed values in New York Mills. It would go from what it is now down, I think I had said it was like 11 cents decrease.
Yeah, the assessed value for right now, general part-time, it's 1,265,000,000, we go to 1,329,000,000, that's all. So that line item would change right there. So,
It would basically become a whole town.
Okay.
right.
That was my main question.
The public hearing.
Well,
Yeah.
we can discuss that more. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing's open for comments. Yes, sir.
Assuming that we include the mills in our police department, are we then obligated to provide some, and they decide to abolish theirs, do we have to add some cars to complete that coverage over there?
Chief, how would that work for you?
Good question.
Well, you know, I mean, if New York Mills were to abolish, obviously, we would have to respond to any calls for service in that area. It is in the town of Hartford, and the residents of the town of Hartford. It would be up to the board if they want to increase the complement of the police department.
Anybody else, any comments, questions? Okay.
Leave it open to the end, or-
Yeah, we can leave it open in case someone has any questions. All right, moving on. Reports for town officials by standing committee, town clerks committee. Rich?
I have a proposal for the property tax, the people that are doing it now are no longer doing that. And you want a resolution, Gail, to accept for the pay cal? Is that what I understand?
Yeah, we have to notify EVO that we're canceling the contract that's connected with our software package and going with the government division of Pentel.
I'll make that as part of the motion.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Dave. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, discussion.
That's all secure and everything through the PayPal and all that?
I hope so, I use PayPal.
I
hope it's secure.
It's through the government,
Otherwise, I got big
it's
problems.
through the government.
It's not a good thing.
you mean government's gonna get back?
I arrested.
Yeah, so it's just, okay. That's all I have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public safety and courts, Kirkland Animal Control Agreement. Chief, I was wondering if you can elaborate on that for us?
It's a yearly contract that we enter into with the town of Kirkland. It's, they reimburse the town of Hartford $16,000 to cover our costs to provide them ACO services into the town of Kirkland. It certainly is a good deal for the town of Hartford. Nothing has changed in that contract from the previous years.
Okay. A motion to sign the contract?
Make the motion.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Public safety and courts, declare surplus a 2009 Dodge Durango. Gail has the VIN number for it. I'll put that on Auction International. Okay, motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Zoning and planning, required training, John Montrose, Karen Stankless, both need training for zoning. Do you know the price of that, Joe?
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah, it's usually.
it's $20?
Yeah,
Okay,
each.
$20 each. Have a motion? Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
I have some vouchers and bills, I don't know if you guys took a look at for FEMA mostly, so we can get those in for the deadline. You guys took a look at those? No, that's for FEMA, for the projects that we're working on.
This the main building, this is the patrol.
I think it's a Gander Mountain, isn't it?
Yeah, there's supposed to be FEMA in there though, isn't there?
I don't think the FEMA might have been approved last week.
Yeah.
Cause I had the bill ones coming up again. Alright, she didn't get the FEMA ones in there, they're supposed to be FEMA also, these are the ones these are for the buildings, they, for the progress work that they've done so far. They've been checked by the architect, and we went over them, and,
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
okay. Motion by Rich,
Yes, and,
yeah. It's a progress payment, so. You know what we'll do, we'll come back to it, how's that? Okay, the CSE, you guys are familiar of?
Well, I've got something on the
Yeah, sure.
library. We've got the agreement for the snowplow sanding and salting. It mirrors last year, and we need a motion for Paul to sign that. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Jim, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one other item,
Sure.
we talked about signage.
Yep, we're preparing a no trespassing, it's not a no parking.
Okay,
So I'm working on the specific language, the chief has volunteered to help me with that.
do we need a public hearing on that?
No,
Thank you, that's all.
Okay, anybody else?
No, just a few things that
Sure.
just kicking around for the meeting site. 27 Bent Circle, just for the minutes purposes, you want to just reiterate a few things?
yeah, we sent the formal notice to the property owner that the board unanimously voted to declare that structure as an unsafe structure according to our ordinance, and by law, she would have 30 days to commence demolition. If she doesn't, she's in violation of the statute, and we can go forward and bring an action to demolish. And as I indicated to Jim, I had gotten another call today from a neighbor who's expressed concerns, especially with the weather conditions as they are. He seemed to indicate to me that he hasn't seen any activity over there, except he did see a few people around, but he has seen no effort to try and demolish.
We have not received any contact or communications from
No.
homeowner?
From her, I've never really received any communication, other than
Other
she came to the meetings.
Okay. And then the other ones that we had outstanding, I think it was.
They're all served, we're ready to bring motions, we're just waiting. They were out of state service, so they have 30 days to respond. And that should be running any day now, the 30 days.
Also, just an FYI for the board, I'm gonna meet with Mr. Pierce on the 13th, Tuesday the 13th at 4:30. Remind you if you want to be here, and Rick too, if you're available, the 13th at 4:30 here. That's relative to the potential for a retention area on Foxborough.
Do we have drawings or anything that would specify the
He has-
size?
He has a,
He
he has
had, we sent him, his wife, everything.
twice,
Okay,
hand delivered the second time.
okay.
because you
I'm
triggered,
sorry.
no, you triggered something with
Yeah, that's
the
good.
retention pond.
Yeah, there you go.
Case Circle.
Yep, I've talked to the lady, I've talked to Chris, who verifies there was no contract, and I've gotta determine how we can proceed absent a contract.
Anything else? Anybody? No? Okay. As you know, the CSC members that we have, we needed a 10th person. Carrie Picapo actually came to a couple of the meetings. She's interested in being the 10th member, and I needed a motion if we can approve it for her to be the 10th member of the CSC team.
So moved.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
And just saying, those guys are doing a great job. They started their own website. They got their own Facebook page. We're getting a lot of the criteria done for New York State. And when we finish that, there's that $250,000 for storm mitigation, and that might be a good grant that we can use, your project up there, if we don't put it into the county. So, just to go over that. Next is, there is a group, it's called the ICLEI, Local Government for Sustainability. They're a group that helps a lot of the towns and municipalities get their CSC designation. It's a reference tool. There's over 300 municipalities that's currently a member of them. The cost is $600 a year, but there's a lot of stuff on there like grant, boilerplates, applications, different things. Also, there's boilerplates for all the stuff that the CEC requires to get the designation on there, and it also gives us points for joining. I have the money in the budget that there's other stuff that I cut that was unnecessary, so $600 a year, and it would go towards again the project for the CSC. So.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Join.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Phil, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Discussion on New York Mills senior bill invoice. I got an invoice from New York Mills from Mayor Bylick. I know we spoke about them going on trips and getting them approved for some money, but they couldn't be casino trips, but they had a dinner and they sent us the invoice for a dinner for $1,800, and they wanted to know if you guys would approve the dinner. So if you guys want to look at it and then tell me what you think. But.
So it's their senior citizen group, or I don't.
It's their senior citizens group. They said they didn't go on a bus trip to the casino, so they went to a dinner.
How many people?
I don't know. I told them I'd give it to the board. So you guys can discuss it and we'll figure it out. Anyway, okay, I wanted to discuss the letter from Mayor Bylick regarding the police department, so we'll bring that back to light. So, discussing this further, right now, currently, I don't believe he has four full-time people. I don't believe he can use his chief from at least the information I did. Again, I'm not a civil attorney, but what I have read, I don't believe that he can use his police chief. I guess it's up to the town board what they want to do. At this point, again, the only thing I would hate to do, again, is tax the residents down there and then have them pay in their village taxes for full-time police officers. So, I don't know where you want to go with this, but, any ideas that you guys have? Because, again, the biggest thing, like I said, I just don't want to charge the village residents for the tax, and then they're getting charged again in their village tax down there, because it's not fair to them, so. He hasn't had 4 full-time officers in over 3 years. We all know that. But now we kind of have to do something about it, so. Dave, what do you think?
Well, he's gone on record as saying something different than
But as police chief, the chief just spoke, he just
Right.
spoke on this.
that. I understand.
Again, if you look at civil service law and you look at everything else, his police chief can't be full-time because he retired from the full-time state
My only point
organization.
is, are we the arbiter on that? Should we hear something from civil service?
Well, no, that's just civil service, it's just you can't. You can't be a full-time person.
We just gotta decide what charging them or not, this one.
We need something more definitive than just our opinions, even if we've talked to civil service. I'd like to see something.
Can I ask a question? Chief, could you retire as police chief and then next year come back as a full-time police officer?
Not if I wanna collect my retirement, as soon as I accept employment back, if it's, I'm limited by the 30,000.
Right.
And, I'm not
You
gonna
couldn't
get
be
my
a
full-time
full-time-
police officer status back, no. There's another thing with age too, so I think really Bard needs to speak with civil service. I'm not sure how Chief Luann, how old he is, but mandatory retirement is at 70. And if he is that age or more, then it's certain he cannot be a full-time police officer. That's mandatory retirement. He can be part-time.
And that's what we need, something in writing from civil service, not us.
Is that just a police officer, or is that just police chief? 70?
I think it's mandatory for him. That's the thing. Chief Brooks from UFD just went through the mandatory retirement age.
And, go ahead.
But also, I think I asked the mayor too about how many of the following past 10 months, how many full-time months did he serve, did he have?
They haven't had full-time,
It
full
was
force
like, I
officers
can't
on.
remember, it was 6 or 4 months that he had, I can't remember when, but whatever he said. I mean, so I know they keep coming on and off based on different promotions and so forth and so on. But I think there's a significant amount of months that they did not have adequate coverage. And I know that's gonna happen periodically, based on their ability here.
Chief, last year, how many full-time officers did you have?
New Hartford,
Yeah.
20.
How many are you gonna have this year?
20.
Okay. I guess I look at it this way. I just don't wanna be flamboozled here. You know what I mean? So, I mean.
We just had to report our staffing levels as of October 31st. And this is when DCGS requires the yearly numbers.
Yep.
They're just coming up to be reported to DCGS as of November 1, how many full-time, part-time employees you have on your police department. So that's the date. It's not arbitrary. You can report January, February, March, pick your month. It's mandated that you have to report by November.
So he would have reported
Right.
He would have reported.
November 1st.
Yes, yes.
Is that a public record? Is that something?
It is. It'll take a few months to show up, and I think I looked at the records before the last board meeting, and it shows as 2018, should be 2017 manpower at 3 full-time, which would have been reported last November.
It's not monthly, it's annually, November
Annually,
1st.
The end of the year is when the.
Well, couldn't we go by that each year?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's reported, so that.
Yeah, that's right from DCGS.
Right,
It is reported, and it's not reported by DCGS. It is reported by your police department itself, whoever your officer in charge or chief is, reports those numbers.
I just look at it like this, we have a budget, right, we pass our budget, our police chief has 20 officers, he has 20 last year, he has 20 this year. It doesn't change that much, you know what I mean? And it's never reached 4, so that's what scares me about it. So, again, we make the decision, but
Did you say it's been 3 years?
it's been 3 years, it hasn't been 4 on the sheets that the chief has just brought up.
It would seem that there's significant pressure to hire someone, whether it be a 4th full-timer or a 5th full-timer. And once that's done, again, I think there's pressure that will happen. What do you do then if we've been charging?
For next year, we take it off.
Take it off next year.
But the point, I think I asked, because it fluctuates. And I know it's an annual recording, but we just say he goes down to 3 again because somebody gets promoted to the sheriff's department or another. And then now we got coverage that we have to Woodlands, things. Now we got to take somebody out of our zone. And I mean, again, I'm all for public safety, so,
Yeah.
but it's also, I think, I don't know, take the words in your mouth, but, take care of our own kind of first, and that's our responsibility. And I know we do share services, and again, it's a tough road, but if the law is the law, then I guess we give it.
Well, I just don't want to tax, here's the thing. Our town right now is paying for the police department that we have. And then if we're gonna go use them in the village, and the village people, the residents, believe that they're paying in their village tax for police, and we're using our officers, it just takes away from us. So it doesn't like the village of New Hartford, when they gave up their police department and we hit it, then, we watch now, of course, the village of New Hartford. So it makes sense, but this here is we're taking away a lot more people because they don't have the people on staff. And I couldn't really get, anything in stone saying, yes, we have people on, and if they only have one officer too, they don't have enough, and then we have to go down there, it's still putting pressure on us. It's still taking away from our guys, and, maybe overtime too, I don't know, so. But I don't know, what do you think, Chief? I mean, is it something that's really putting the pressure on us, or?
No, since this last board meeting, I know New York Mills has really stepped up to cover their own calls. We have been sent 2 or 3 times to assist. They always cancel us before we get there. So I think that they're trying, but it really comes down to the board decision.
And that's the flip side. I know the mayor says with the part-time people, he has the coverage. But
Well, it says full-time.
It says 4 full-time.
so but I know it goes back to like how it's
4 full-time is 4 full-time.
right.
They have 50 part-time. When is the drop dead date on the budget?
November 20.
But it's at the board's discretion if it's under 4, right? It's not a mandatory, is that based on that?
I thought it was pretty mandatory.
Okay,
I don't think it's
no
discretionary.
it's a discretion.
Well, no, I mean, I know it was before or after a certain date.
Well, I think there's discretion in determining whether or not there are 4 full-time, but clearly this is an issue with the police chief constituting the 4th full-time.
Would it be prudent of us maybe to set that policy to check each year on your reporting too?
Yeah,
And that's what I'll go by.
but I think we need to know what he reported November 1st.
Right.
Who reports that, chief?
Excuse me, I missed that.
Who reports?
The numbers to
Yeah.
DCGS? Whoever the department police chief or officer in charge is. at the
So
time.
we could write a letter requesting that they provide us with documentation that Chief Lelannon is the 4th full-time officer pursuant to civil service, and a copy of that report that they sent in to DCJS.
Yeah, well, I think it's really, it's a lot simpler than that. I think it is just a personnel director calling civil service to see how many full-time police officer positions are currently filled in your bills, and they'll have the number right then.
They can tell you right there?
Yes.
Yeah, they can.
Barb?
Yeah, they can pull it right up on the computer.
And would you be able at that time also to determine when the list is gonna be
I can ask.
blessed,
I mean,
certified, or whatever it's
I
called?
can ask, see how much information
Yeah.
they give. They're
Yeah.
not always forthcoming with all their stuff, but yes, I can ask them. I can ask them what's holding it up.
And we don't care who it is, just what the process is,
Absolutely.
because we're trying to put a budget together.
Oh, absolutely.
Could I ask you this, chief? If he really was in a bind, could he do a lateral transfer from another department without the list?
Yeah, lateral transfers are always on the table, yes, but, in the mayor's defense, he said he has 2 part-timers that
Once he-
took the last test, and he wants to hire one of them, and he's waiting for that test to get certified, so. And quite frankly, I have a larger police department, so I always have a few months that if I have to buy time, I can to get to my officer, and he's kind of not in that position, so.
Right. Okay.
Which goes back to the original problem. He will always be trying to fill one position over a period of time.
Yeah, but if it's 3 years,
No,
it's a long period.
yeah, right,
It's almost like being on the police commission as a board member.
that's right.
And I'd be happy to contact the state controller's office and see if they can give us any guidance as to if there's a specific date, or if you just use what he reports. I mean, it would seem the easiest would be what he reports.
It is what it is.
Then you have to worry about the fluctuations out there.
If the next year comes back as 4, we don't charge it.
What if they abolish the police department after we pass our budget? And then we have to have coverage for New York Mills, we don't have,
Well, doesn't the sheriff's department help out too, chief? For New
They
York
do.
Mills, because I
Yeah,
see their cars sitting over there in the parking
They
lot.
will respond, the county and the state, but there's a huge, difference in response time. When you get outside your village or town, you'll be talking 15, 20, 30 minutes to get a county or state car to call. And that's that's why they always send New Hartford to back up New York Mills, because it's usually, it isn't something in progress, or they don't have a car and they get a town car there. The response time is just the difference between night and day.
Could we pass a budget contingent on this, or we gotta come back and see how this works out first?
Well, I think you could pass it contingent on verification as to whether or not there are 4 full-time or vice versa.
Any other comments?
That's right.
Hmm?
That's right.
Okay. Anybody? Any other ideas, Dave? Nothing? Jim? Phil? Okay. All right. Okay, moving on. Our purchasing policy, as you know, again, we're working on the CSC, trying to receive points and make it a green community. I went to and changed the purchasing policy to reflect, not that you have to, but to try to use green incentives, and look at wasting paper and different things like that. That was emailed out to you guys. I don't know if you took a look at it, but it helps us with our point system. And if you guys are okay with that, I'd ask for a motion to approve it, and I'll upload the new purchasing policy.
You're just adding basically two new paragraphs, one entitled Green Procurement, which is going to be the environmentally preferable effort to purchase products that reduce negative impacts on the environment. And that's on page 12, and on page 13, relating to decision to purchase green, is the second new paragraph indicating that that would be a factor in consideration in making a purchasing determination. Other than that, it's all the same.
I'll move it.
You want to read the resolution?
No, it's
Yeah,
basically what it says.
Oh, you got it, okay. All right, motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Rich has a positive comment letter. You wanna-
The letter from the Historical Society thanking the town and the board members for their continuing yearly support of the society. It says the society continues to grow and collect items for the museum and to support the town and village in archiving items for secure collection of artifacts. Without the support of the town and village board, I would not be able to function. It is from President Jeff Madden.
That's great. Thank you. You want this, we need a certified copy again for the resolution for the procurement policy. We can keep that going. Also to BOCES, Hartford County, Madison BOCES, wanted to thank us. I did, had a couple students come and shadow me and discuss different things, you know, in the political science, real estate and business law area on the town. And they wanted to say thank you, and they wrote a nice letter and stuff for us, so.
I think Rick has some positive comments on his leaf collection too, right?
Lots of phone calls, positive phone calls.
Not the ones that
Not the ones,
Yeah.
not the ones that are negative like last year, because they are falling late.
They are falling. Every year seems to be about the same time.
Yeah, everybody's really been positive about it, and our office too has got many calls saying, wow, what a great system, and people are real happy with the new machines. So.
Yeah, they just can't believe how fast
Yep.
and safely they do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I witnessed it too. I told Rick, same thing. It's very impressive to see it in action.
Yeah,
When-
yeah.
I mean,
Me and you did.
we did with Rick, and you know, it's definitely day and night, and it does a great job. So
Yeah.
and it's fast, it's efficient. I mean, it does. I think it's a great investment. So again, and not getting the phone calls, that's great too.
I had an area, a town that's near us, come by and he visited me this morning and got all the information on them because they're going to be doing
You can tell us who it
this
is.
the same time down the road.
Never mind.
They like the, just like I went and I looked at him and watched him down in Utica before we made the decision. And he's been watching our trucks and now he's going back to his town board with the positive feedback.
Big time saver, nice and safe.
When you take 12 employees
Yep,
with 4 trucks and 3 guys on each truck, and these
Right.
guys knew what we had to do that Saturday,
sure,
and it brings it down to 2 guys.
right,
And those 2 guys that are working every day are watching. The leads fell pretty good this weekend,
right.
Yeah.
and they went out there today, and I'm using their judgment to tell me, okay, we're overwhelmed that we need to put the evening shift on, and we haven't done that yet because they're keeping up.
Yeah, we got a lot of good positive comments, so I'm really impressed. And they're really, people are excited, so.
There's no damage neither
No,
to somebody's lawn or to the pavement. That's a big issue too.
They don't have a guy out there exposing himself to
Right.
traffic too.
Right.
I'm gonna be sending around a pickup truck here probably the next day or so, picking up pumpkins. There's a lot of pumpkins out there, and just pick up the pumpkins and we'll take them up to the area and let the wildlife. And I put pumpkins and apples out behind my house, and the deer come down and have a blast with it.
Sure.
So we have our area behind our garage, and we'll feed them pumpkins,
Cool.
get them picked up.
Keep them off of Route 8.
Do they spit the seeds out there?
Yeah.
so I just wanted to bring it up with the leaf thing, the leaf machines, they've been excellent, so it was a good job with that, so. Going back to the senior, because I'm gonna be getting another call this week. I don't know, what do you guys wanna do with this?
So, if I read it correctly, they paid 900, and we're looking for 900, if you were a little note.
And a little note there.
It's not
Yeah.
18.
Right.
Yeah, right, it
Yeah.
was $1,800
Right.
dinner, but they said that we still owe them $2,000, Paul would pay him. Yeah, so I think, they said they owe $2,000, because that's what we were gonna give them for senior trips to the casino.
It was not budgeted, right? I think.
Well, Eileen used no, it wasn't really, it was under contractual, which most of that money, a lot of that money was used this year from Eileen, so there's really not a line item in there for trips. It's just part of contractual, so.
You're looking at Dan verify if we got money to pay them.
It's the first I heard of that.
Yeah, so, okay, so why don't I give it to you and you see what we got here.
How's that, Dan?
So,
He gets a little card.
You get the card too.
A little thank you card.
All right. Moving right along. So we have our bills that we've been paying for Gander Mountain. So those are the ones to approve the first payments of all the work. I don't know if you guys have been up there. They actually started sheet rocking today. We're moving along quite well. We're definitely gonna make our December 15th deadline. And there were some change orders, but to the positive, so there's some cost savings too that we made while we were up there. So.
When do you anticipate moving out of here?
Well, they'll be done on the 15th, so probably from the 15th to the 30th of December.
Okay.
All the IT infrastructure and everything will probably be starting on the 9th. I'm gonna go up there with the guys and we're gonna spec everything out, get everything set, so we can just have a plug and play environment from one building to another. I think what else. I think that's really about it. But
There's a bunch of people working.
we
Looks
got
good.
full crews, and I've been handling the change orders and stuff during the day, so it doesn't hold anybody back and anything. So we're moving right along. So. Any questions on anything? Signage for the building. You guys want to have a discussion on that? Okay. Oh, we're making, no problem.
As far as,
So the signage, so where the Gander Mountain sign used to be, I was looking at putting a sign in that location. And then where the circles were, I was thinking about putting our crest in there on both circles. If you guys got any ideas, or if you want to discuss it further, but we ought to order them so we have them for December so we can get them going, so. You guys.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because the circles are perfect and the green is the same color and it'll actually work right nice in there. And then the top would just be a regular sign where the Gander Mountain was with lights coming up at night so you can see it if you want to. And then also, speaking about Gander Mountain, there's the incentive for the National Grid. So I put in for the incentive because I did the audit up there. Because we're going just to a regular electrician, he doesn't do that. So we'll get incentive money back. It might be,
Rebates back.
yeah, it could be up to like $85,000 that we'll get back for that. So I guess I need a motion to fill out the rest of the paperwork and send that in for the incentive too. While we're at it, we can do that this meeting, I'll get that done. So,
I'll move that.
motion by Phil,
Second.
second by Dave, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. So I'll put that incentive in, and take care of that.
That'd be great.
Can't think anything else up there.
Any updates on Argo from the county?
I'm waiting for Jim and Mary to get back to me. They said they're pushing as best they could, and that's for the court furniture, for that Argo grant, but I'm hoping the county will give it to us, because that'd be a big help. So,
are the justices doing anything with the state?
yes, yeah, we approved the JCAP grant for them, so hopefully we'll get $30,000 for the JCAP grant. And then again, it'll help with more furniture in the courts and their camera system. So that'll help with that. Trying to think what else. I'm still working on obtaining the property next to us, next to Gander Mountain, so I should have another meeting next week to see what I can put together for that. And that's it for that. And then this week I'm meeting with somebody at the rec center to see if we can upgrade the ice machine and the chiller. The one that was, I think it's like 38 years old there.
Right.
To get some new high efficient equipment in there. So I'm gonna be meeting with him and speaking to him about that, so maybe we can get that upgraded.
Do you have any idea how much everything's gonna cost?
Yeah, well, that's what I'll have estimates. I'll bring to the board next meeting or the following meeting, whenever he has them ready. So I'd like to,
That needs to be done, right?
yeah, definitely, yeah, just only. Plus, for the cost savings of the new equipment to the old equipment, it'd be huge. So, but I'll have that meeting this week, so I'll get that information back to you. That's all I have. You want to discuss the budget?
Just a point on the fire contract, we increased District 1 and 2, but not 3. At 2%, it's like another $1,000 or something, but it was requested.
3 was?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. 2% of, it goes up another penny or penny and a half, from 74 to 76.
Do we know what the percent request was for?
2%. I don't know specifically, but I know Earl has talked to the mayor, and I think the mayor's talked to Paul.
Did they indicate what the 2% was for?
I haven't spoken to the mayor. The mayor's never contacted me on it, to be honest with you, Dave.
All right, well, he contacted me.
Well, yeah, I talked in that meeting, I was under the impression it was just 1 and 2, I guess.
Did you talk to Bill? Or, I mean, to Dan?
No, not, I was just under the impression it was Fire District 1 and 2, from, I guess from him.
Well, it's always, while they're divided, 1, 2, and 3, it's still the village and the fire department.
So they're gonna come in to negotiate contracts on that, or just, how does that?
They have not.
Okay.
I was just asking the question.
But their costs are going up too.
Huh?
I think Rich was saying, and wondering where it's gonna be allocated, the extra,
Well,
right? Is that what you're saying?
no, I just wondered what they wanted 2% for, was it just the increased cost?
Yeah,
That's what, yeah.
Okay.
What district?
3.
Three.
It's 0.74 cents.
26.
Yeah, 2% would be like $1,100 into that. It would, instead of the 55,087, it would be 56,189.
Yeah, 1,100. The rest of the budget looks good.
So where's that bring us, as an increase?
The overall tax levy increase is 3.7% from last year. That's the overall tax levy increase. On an overall budget basis.
So, you have to do anything if it goes over the cap?
It's not over the cap, even though percentage-wise, the cap is a different calculation, it takes different things into account, where it's within the 2% tax cap.
We got some credits towards that, right, too? For the past years.
Yeah.
Are we close to it? I mean, are
We're
we,
about 18,000 close to it. We can't raise taxes over $18,000. We go over the 2% tax cap.
Definitely don't wanna go over the tax bill,
no,
then people lose their refund.
right.
Right.
I understand, so the residents are going 3.7%?
Now, if New York Mills comes into the equation, that'll offset some
Well,
of it.
I had initially said, again, it would just change the tax rate. Again, you gotta take into account the consideration,
Right.
do something just in case New York Mills counters, because their budget, I think their year end is like May, isn't it? Usually the villages are May. You know, if they decide not to have a police fleet off starting May, then you're gonna have some increase increased costs that you didn't
Right.
collect tax for. So, in theory, if your costs were the same, would decrease the tax rate. It wouldn't change the tax cap calculation, because the tax cap calculation is based on the tax levy dollar-wise. So that, that increase in District 3 for the fire, that would affect the tax cap. It would obviously be okay, but all those special districts would get a
Right.
greater calculation.
Is there anything in here you'd like to take out?
So Dan, what's the amount that, to get it down to close to zero?
To get what down to the tax increase.
It's probably pretty substantial, right?
If you look at the overall tax levy for the town as a whole, it'd be the $208,000.
When I did the tentative budget, it was less than 1%, it was 0.9%. And that was what I proposed in the beginning, so. And then there's extra stuff that, was put in, but.
As for 2019, Paul, you still gonna take care of the parks positions yourself? You're gonna do
Yeah, yeah, well, if you did that, the tax rate would go up to 10%.
that? Right.
So I don't think we really have the money to put a parks director or an assistant in there. I mean, even at any rate, even at any rate, if you put them in at 40, half the price, you still probably wouldn't, right? It would still bring us,
If you look at the tax cap, it's we cut something else out.
That was just a big savings. You take
yeah,
that
and then
out.
you still, and then you need
Take it out.
somebody for that person to be administrator, they're the secretary,
Right.
so. Again, it's up to you guys too, you might not want me as the parks guy.
So that's a lot of money you're saving.
I know, Paul, you and I sat here last year to try to find 10,000. I don't think we're gonna find 200,000, but
Well, again, it would go back to my tentative budget if we did, that's all, because that's where I was at less than 1%. Everything was in there, and we didn't cut no people, and actually I put money in there for programs and upgrades and.
A lot of it was police overtime, if he spends it, we're still gonna pay it anyway.
Right, but if he doesn't spend it, instead of putting in the fund balance again, I'd like to give it back to the residents, And I think we're at a good point where our fund balance, I don't think we need to save any more money at this point, just kind of. And we probably will, there's been a lot of savings this year, so I think we're gonna have a nice fund balance. And again, I'd like to give that back to the residents next year, instead of.
Do we have, our contracts are all current, or will be, nothing runs out this year, right?
No, police and parks and everything is correct.
Yeah, Parks is December.
December of 19?
Yeah, that's when it runs out.
That's the first one, right?
That I know of, because I'm doing the Parks.
Yeah, the others were long
Yeah.
term.
And it was a good chunk of our cost is the health insurance and contracts, right?
Well, again, you mean for,
For this budget.
well, no, even with those, we still are at less than 1%,
Mhm.
because I added that in, that was with the workers' comp claim for police, that was 72,000 in there. Because don't forget, the general whole town is where I saved all the money, and, that it got eaten up by, if we didn't have the workers' comp claim in there, really, we probably would have been at zero. Right, Dan, the 72,000 would have been, if we didn't have the workers' comp claim for, in police, the 72,000 or 75,000, whatever
Yeah,
it was, we probably would have been at a 0 increase.
Let's say it's heard this, are we gonna be able to?
From my 0, for my less than 1%.
I don't know what the workers' comp claim was.
Which, for the accident?
You'd have to talk to Mike, there was two guys out on workers' comp.
That doesn't change from year to year, does it?
We go through the
It
county.
goes through, it's based on the history, you
Yeah.
know, based on your claims.
I believe we-
They get charged back.
Yeah.
We go through county self-insured,
Right.
right?
Right,
Through
but
the county.
isn't it like an average of 3 or 5 years? In other words, it doesn't change every year.
Yeah, it gets allocated differently, whether it
Right.
was highway guys that were out,
Right.
police guys.
But one was the auto accident.
I don't know, I didn't know there was a.
But it was paid, it's paid to next year's,
Right.
because it happened in this year, so it's paid in next year's budget.
Right. Year.
I was just saying, that was a big chunk, you know.
We've got salt, Rick, under this budget, under the current budget? Yes, no?
2018?
Yeah.
Yes, I spent the rest of our salt budget and filled the barn. Salt did go up $11.34 a ton for this season.
That was
That's a lot of money.
We raised the salt budget by 10 grand from 170 to 180.
Well, we used a lot last year with all the conditions, right, or this year.
But with our brine, I'm very comfortable where we are.
Yeah.
Everybody, we just had a highway superintendent's meeting, and this contract came out after everybody did their budgets, and they're not too pleased.
Sure.
This is like us, we did our budget, and then after the budget's nearly done, then OGS comes out with $11.32 a ton increase. It was over $1 million just for Nana County with all the towns salt that we get. It was way, way up there.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Any justification of the increase or no?
Because of last year.
Well, I'm predicting El Nino too is warmer than, depending on the jet stream, it's, but
The contract was way late coming out this year, way late.
And just to clarify too, you'll see your less fund balance in here, the $65,000. Just from last year, we put in the budget for the bridge in New York Mills. That's why it's under general, or highway hometown. So that's really not coming out of fund balance, that's just being moved over from last year. And then the highway park town, that $110,000 was the money that we received from the snowplow. And that's just coming back out because we're gonna make a payment towards the bond,
Yeah.
on the bond debt. So this isn't coming out of our fund balance per se. And again, Dan, if you wanna explain that better.
You did a pretty good job.
Well, it goes in and comes right back out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just an, I guess, I think I spoke about it before, the system as far as showing it as an encumbrance. I mean, that's kinda, it's, it's that 110,000 that Paul said is revenue we received in 2018 on the sale of the truck that we wanna use to, you guys had voted to pay that, the debt down on that, and that's what we're doing with that. And the 65,000 was an expenditure we had in Highway Whole Town from 2018, and discussing with Rick that we're not gonna make in 2018. So that's just gonna drop the fund, basically it drops to your fund balance, and we're using it, we're gonna expend it, the expenditure's gonna be this year instead of 18.
So technically, we're not using anything from
No,
balance
not
on this.
out of that 110, not the historical fund balance, no.
I just wanna tell you, so if somebody says, oh, we're using fund balance, we're not, it's just the money that we're allocating from last year, so. And also the assessment values too, we checked and double checked, I called the county, those are the right, correct numbers, so. Just wanted to, those are our current assessment values, and that's minus the certiorars and stuff that we had, and the pilots.
How much are we down?
We're down $15 million total from pilots and certiorari.
Sangertown alone is a huge chunk of it.
Yeah.
They can't come back again now for
3 years.
3 years,
Last-
but they'll be back.
Well, I don't know, they're pretty low, I mean, or else the market has a downturn in commercial real estate, I don't see how they could.
Our equalization rate dropped again, that's how they do it.
Yeah, but still, their value on the mall, I think, has gone up, especially now.
Good, great.
Cap rates are historic low, I mean, I don't know, really, they would come with it, but we'll see.
They will.
I just, they will.
They will, I know they will.
And the judge will split the baby, that's it, that's how it goes.
See what happens, I know, but.
Don't write that quote down. Splitting the baby.
Yeah. That's for no reason.
Got a question on, page 537, general income.
Yep.
Contractual, it was 60,000, we went to 87.
Hey, where are you looking?
Page
Buildings and grounds.
537.
Contraction.
Oh, buildings and grounds?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Where's this?
Mine was 60,000, that went to 87.
Oh, that's contractual, we gotta pay a county the taxes for the building in the first quarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what that is. And then we're done, but we still might get that money back if we win the case, so. But I
Plus
wanna-
our sales tax allocation stays where it is.
Right,
Okay.
and then if you look there, I mean, this year, we haven't spent any money in engineering, because again, we came up with the different programs that we're using now, the developers and everything, so I took that money out of there, and then any grants or programs that need engineering goes towards the grant or the bond or whatever we decide on doing, so. So I thought that was a $20,000 savings that we had last year, so.
Page 9 of 37 under drainage. There's 30,000, 2018 it's 35.5. We ever go over that?
Yeah, that just, we moved it we moved it from Whole Town, Paul wanted it, it's in Highway Part Town. So there's 30,000 still in the budget, but it's just not in Old Town.
Yeah, because we only do the working part of the town, we don't do, near those, in the village and the Hartford, so. I mean, really, the biggest drops, again, were mostly, the engineering that went out, the parks director, the parks administrator assistant, my department for supervisor, secretary, we saved, the benefits for, 26,000 plus.
Right.
We saved $30,000 on the actual salary, so there's another 60 on this right there. We saved the 72,000 plus the benefits there at Parks.
The parks, right.
The other 46 plus the benefits at Parks. And again,
Expenses wise, it sounds like we're doing it's making up for that 15 million is where,
yeah, I mean, we got hit at every angle, but we still came out pretty good for, what we've been doing, so. I mean, again, the budget I proposed and my goal was to have the residents see the services that they're paying for. I think that, they're seeing them. So again, it's cut out a lot of other things that were unnecessary, I thought, and put in stuff that, again, people see every day and gonna use. Also in here that, when I did the tentative budget, there's also money in there for a payment, again, for the ice maker and the chiller that, again, is substantial, and a lot of people use the rink, and, again, it's another asset of the community, so.
It's a big asset to the town.
Oh, definitely,
in the last 8 years, taxes have not went up either.
But also you could see it in the assets that we have that they weren't getting taken care of. I mean, there hasn't been a building or anything painted or cleaned and fixed in the park in 8 years either. So, again, all the stuff at the rec center needs upgrading. I mean, it's been left to, so, I mean, again, I don't know. And again, buying the machines for Rick this year, that was a positive thing, I think, I think the residents see it. We got a lot of things done this year. We got FEMA reimbursements coming in for Rick's department, which again will go into fund balance, at the end of the year.
You really don't plan on buying for any capital stuff coming up either?
That's it, nothing. In fact, I'd even like to, I was gonna ask, I know this sounds crazy, but I was talking with the banks. They might let us out of the interest payments for the band if we want, but we might wanna just go out to bond and do the bond now, because we're supposed to get another increase in interest rates in December, and we're looking at another 2 next year we're looking at, so I'd like to go out to bond before we get hit with higher interest rates. Because it's, we got the, sanctuary for Sangertown, we got Tilden Ave, we got the equipment we bought, the building, plus Grange Hill, plus all the other bonds that we, let's see, what else we got on hand. That's it.
You're talking about consolidating the bond?
Just consolidating it if we can. I mean,
But yeah, the ones that aren't with Adirondack Bank, I don't know if you can, they're probably a prepayment.
well, I spoke to them. They might let us out because the interest rates are going up. They might not charge us the prepayment. So I spoke to M&T and MBT and Adirondack, so just throwing it out there. So,
Because the interest rates are trending up.
yeah, and I think if we lock it in now at the lower rates, then we'll be fine and everything will be like we spoke about. And I've handed out the papers this year where we'll be. So again, we won't have any tax increases or any, hits on the interest rates. So, guys want to think about that in the next meeting, kind of make a decision what you want me to do, but,
I think you should pursue it, and then if you're here, come back at the next meeting with something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because if we go out to bond now, then everything stays true to the numbers I gave you at the beginning of the year, and there's no increases anywhere. In fact, the buildings becomes a savings in the, you know, in the negative,
There's two bands with Adirondack Bank.
right?
There's one with NBT,
Yeah, talk to them, yeah.
and then the last one, the small one, with, for Sangertown, Surgery, that's with Greene County Community.
Yeah, I didn't talk to them, but that's so small
That's
that
a
we can,
smaller one.
you know, we can even do something there, or whatever. But still, even if we had to pay a prepayment penalty, it's still gonna be way cheaper than paying an extra 1.5% on, you know, $6 million over time, so.
Well, I think we've done a lot accomplished this year, a lot of big items, a lot of positive steps forward. I think we've purchased a lot of equipment that was sorely needed, and I think it's gonna pay off in the long run, literally pay off, I think.
Oh, I agree. I also think next year, you know, with the LED street lighting upgrades I wanna do, and again, the rec center, lighting that we're gonna do.
It's supposed to start this week, I think, if not
It,
today.
it,
yesterday.
it started already.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so.
today. So, you know, with all these upgrades to LED lighting and everything, again, I've been paying out of budget or money or incentives. So, we're not even gonna have payments on these things. So it's gonna help us in next year's, you know, again, bills that we're getting. Right, so our buildings and grounds, you know, our lights and lighting and stuff will go down.
So the money spent now is positive.
Oh, yeah, no, everything's been, I think, positive. You know, again, everything is just, it's wages, insurances, workers' comp, those are the things that hit us hard, and those are big numbers, more than anything else. I mean,
There's nothing we can do about it either.
I think what are we, close to 10 million in labor, and benefits and stuff, so, you know, I mean, it's a lot of money. And again, we're locked into the contracts with 3% increases also, too, straight across the board, so, you know, and a lot of them are on higher salaries, and it adds up. So you gotta take into account that every year. But I think, you know, in the past year, the services that we've given the residents and the stuff that we've done, have been positive, and they've seen it, you know, so.
I'll put a motion out there that we accept the budget pending the verifications in the Mills police situation.
So you're proposing to be accepted as shown, contingent upon verification of the accuracy of the letter we've received from New York Mills.
Yes.
And the contract for Fire District 3. I'll second.
Motion by Rich, second by Dave, discussion. So there's nothing in here you guys think, so we can lower that rate a little bit? Good. I mean, is there anything in here we can, I mean, do we need all the stuff we added to the tentative budget? I don't know.
How much did we add to it?
208,000 since my budget came out.
Well, each department came with a wish list.
Like you said, a wish list.
I think the items were justified. I can't point to an item that wasn't.
You know, we're gonna use the most control vehicle. If we don't address it here, how are we gonna address it then? Overtime, if we spend it, we're gonna have to pay it.
I know in years past, at least my impression is, Rick has taken a beating on paving and all those things, and we can't do that.
Well, no,
It's
and
hard enough to keep.
my tentative budget, I actually put in there 50
Yeah.
grand more than last year, so
Yeah.
that didn't go down.
No, but I mean, in years past, I think that has been a hit, maybe after the budget was actually passed. And I don't think we should do that in any way, shape, or form.
No, I agree.
He's got enough, just paving issues alone.
Well, paving wasn't touched in here though.
No, I'm just saying, that's always been a hit list, and I don't think we should look at that.
I think we added, what, 18% to the budget this year for paving, so I mean, you know, and again, I'm all about infrastructure stuff that people see, you know, but some of the stuff in here, I don't know. I just- All right. Motion by Rich, second by Dave. All in favor? Nay. Anything else, guys? We do have an executive session with a particular employee.
Oh, okay. So we need to have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Jim, second by Phil. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Okay, we're back in public session. We're looking for a motion to authorize Supervisor Michioni to act as Parks Director and handle the day-to-day operation of the Parks Department. Jim moves.
Second.
Motion by Jim.
Second.
Second by Phil. Second by Phil. Discussion. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
The next thing is that we have a concern about the next meeting date. In that Gail has advised us that the budget, the final budget has to be adopted, I believe, on or before the 20th of November. And our next meeting wouldn't be until the 21st.
So we could do it the 19th, that would be Monday?
Yes.
It is not a planning board. Planning board is the 13th.
Okay, so 19th Monday. And we could put that online,
At 6 o'clock. So the next meeting is gonna be
6
November
PM.
19,
Can you do?
2018, at 6 p.m. Did you wanna?
Yeah, can we make a motion that she does it?
Yep. We have a letter from Amy Toper dated October 8th indicating to Chief and Sarah that she will be retiring her position effective November 23rd, 2018. Thanking everyone for the support that she's been given over the past 27 years and wishing the department the best. So I'm guessing a motion to accept the resignation of Amy Toper.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Phil. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for Jim.
So moved.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Phil. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Things over, I'm gonna do a nice jersey too.